in Allah and the messengers, the angels and the final day and the holy scriptures, to believe in destiny, that good and bad both come from Him, and the resurrection, there is no God but Allah, the angels and the final day and the holy scriptures, to believe in destiny, that good and bad both come from Him, and the resurrection, there is no God but Allah.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Dear viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to episode number 15 from the series Tawhid First. Today, inshallah, we want to conclude the subject of Aqidah. And bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, beginning the next episode, inshallah, we want to get into the essence of the series, talking about the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the first subject of the Aqidah, and get into Tawheed bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. But in this episode, I decided to call this miscellaneous issues in the field of Aqidah. Disbelief can occur by belief, statement, and actions. You could disbelieve, you could become a disbeliever by believing, by saying something, or by acting. Let's find out what this means. Look at this. Rejecting the pillars of faith altogether, or a partial rejection of any of the pillars of faith, leads to disbelief. There is a verse in Surah An-Nisa, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الذين يكفرون بالله ورسله ويريدون أن يفرقوا بين الله ورسله ويقولون نؤمن ببعض ونكفر ببعض ويريدون أن يتخذوا بين ذلك سبيلا أولئك هم الكافرون حقا وَأَعْتَدْنَا لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابًا مُهِينًا. Indeed, those who believe in Allah and His messengers, I said disbelief can occur by believing. So they believe, indeed those who disbelieve in Allah and His messenger, not completely, but they say, I believe Jesus is a messenger, but Muhammad is not. هذا يكفر. That is why a lot of the people, they look at us and say, you're saying that the people of the book are not, the Christian is not a kafir? Yeah, he's a disbeliever because he rejected Muhammad. The Jew is a disbeliever because he rejected Isa alayhi salam, and he rejected Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. فالشاهد, the important thing here, disbelief happened because of what? Of the belief. It could happen also because of saying something, actions, which are performed deliberately, such as mocking the religion. When you mock the religion, mocking the religion, when you make fun of Islam, of the religion of Islam, that takes you to disbelief. أكفرتم بعد إيمانكم قل أبالله وآياتي ورسوله كنتم تستهزئون. أكفرتم بعد إيمانكم. You're making fun of Allah and His messenger, you disbelieved after you have believed. Throwing the Quran in the filth, this is action, of course with the intention of humiliating and disrespecting the Quran. Of course, disbelief can happen literally by, being involved in the worship of idols and so forth. But we need to be careful because there is, in that area, there is a minor and major kufr, as we know. A very, very important point, dear viewers, a very important point. Pay attention to this. Something called general takfir and takfir on a particular individual. It is a big no in Islam to go to somebody and saying to him, you're a kafir. I'm talking about a Muslim. Somebody who says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. A red zone. Don't do it. Do not do it unless he admits it, unless the evidence is being established against him by the scholars, by the knowledgeable people. Difference between, let's understand this, something called takfir al-mutlaq wa takfir al-muayyan. Difference between takfir al-mutlaq, general takfir. What does it mean? You say what? Whoever does this act is a kafir. But don't say to the person who's doing the act, you're a kafir. You getting it? Huh? So general takfir, which is the unrestricted takfir, that you say, whoever throw the Quran in the ground with the intention of humiliating the Quran, disrespecting the Quran, is a kafir. Whoever. But you cannot go to that person and tell him, muayyan, you are a kafir. You cannot say that, even if he does this act without. Huh? This is where comes the distinction between general takfir, anyone who does this become a kafir, and individual takfir, which is to call a person involved in kufr act a kafir. Calling an individual kafir should be left for those people of knowledge who are aware of what is iman, what is belief, and kufr is. What are the things that negate a person Islam? When is excuse? Because before you call a person a kafir, you must do three things. Al-udhru bil-jahl, wal-udhru bil-ta'wil, wal-udhru bil-ikrah. You have to educate that person first about the wrong thing that they are doing. A lot of the people, they do what they do without knowing that this is an act of kufr. They don't. And I'm telling you, the overwhelming majority of the ummah are like this. A lot of the people who go around graves, calling upon dead people, they don't understand that this is act of shirk. They don't. So you need to educate them first. They are ignorant. Al-udhr bil-jahl. Some of them misinterpreted. They sat in front of somebody who pretended to be a student of knowledge who's teaching the wrong beliefs, and he got convinced and he's acting upon what he heard. Or he's forced. There are a lot of people who are forced. So we must apply the excuse of ignorance before we label anything a kafir. It is indeed very dangerous for unqualified people, especially who do not even know the definition of iman, according to our righteous predecessors, to perform unrestricted labeling of people out of their own will, out of their own desires. طيب, another rule here, who is the kafir before Allah? General rule, once it comes to a kafir in the world, of course no marriage, our acceptance and rejection of a kafir, and in general what you should be your attitude. He cannot marry from you, he cannot marry a Muslim woman. If somebody is a kafir, he cannot marry a Muslim woman, and so forth. The person who hears of Islam and knowingly reject it is a kafir, who will stay in the hellfire for eternity, for he will have no excuse in the day of judgment, because he heard the message. The story of Ibrahim's father, I shared it with you. There is no question that if you hear the message and you reject it, but now how you heard it. That is why, ya ikhwah, we need to be very careful with the way that we convey the message, especially us living in the West. We need to simply be nice and kind, use the methodology of the Prophet ﷺ in calling people to Islam. And by the way, our job is to establish the hujjah, the evidence against them. Whether they believe or not, it's between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But again, you know, we cannot just say this is a kafir, I cannot give him the la. You actually should hope that this person accepts Islam. And that is why you need to be kind and nice to him. Be careful. Especially with the non-Muslims, you need to convey the message to them. You cannot just, oh, he's a kafir, you cannot do that. I hope you're not, this is not the message that I'm conveying here. That is absolutely wrong if this is the message I'm conveying. Yes, you dislike his kufr, absolutely. But you should love that Allah guides him, and you are the means that can make this happen you need to give him da'wah in a kind and nice way, and whether he accepts it or not, at the end of the day, it's between him and Allah. إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. Of course, if there is no message, no punishment, unless or until this person is tested in the day of resurrection. We have hadith Al-Aswad ibn Sari', al-hadith fi عند أحمد والبيهقي وأبي يعلى, the deaf, the insane, the senile, old man, yani, and the one who died during the fatra, interval between two prophets, they will be tested in the day of resurrection. A messenger will be sent to them, enter Jannah, this is hell, and they will be asked to enter hell, and if they accept and adhere to the commands, they will find it Jannah. Shadow, the important thing is, my job and your job is to establish the evidence against people. رُسُلًا مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنذِرِينَ لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ بَعْدَ الرُّسُلِ. This is our job. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says this, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We will not punish until we send the messenger. You must receive the message. طيب. Major sin and kufr. I discussed this issue before. But a person who commits major sins, as long as he does not deny the commands, leaving the salah, do not praying, is a major sin. Some people said he's a kafir. When does it become kufr? When do you fall into disbelief? When you abandon the salah? When you say, I shouldn't be praying, he's denying the command. You know what, the people a long time ago, during the time of the Prophet, they used to ride camels, and so they have more time than us now. We're busy. I will pray just 2 salahs or 3 salahs. هذا يكفر, يخرج من الملة, because he is denying the commands. Yani, if you have 2 people who are not praying in front of me right now, I ask this one, why you're not praying, ya akhi? Wallahi ya Sheikh, I'm sorry, wallahi, I'm astaghfirullah, I will try, ya Sheikh, subhanallah, this is fasiq, هذا fasiq. But this one, no, I shouldn't be praying. Why should I pray? My heart is clean. هذا يكفر, يخرج من الملة. Because he's what? He's denying the command. Now the other end of this, the one who commits haram, major sins, for example. Adultery is a major sin. As long as he doesn't believe that it's halal to commit adultery, he doesn't go out of Islam. Neglecting the duties that Allah has enjoined upon you, pillars of Islam, committing major sins such as zina, sexual intercourse, drinking khamr, intoxicants, and so forth, eating, backbiting, I mentioned some of those. It badly affects your tawheed, beliefs, and makes your iman weak. But it does not render one a kafir, disbeliever, provided that he does not deny the first type and believe the second type is halal to do. Let's take a short break and come back and talk more about some more issues of the Aqidah before we conclude talking about the Aqidah. I want to tell you I enjoyed talking about it so much. Don't go away, I'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
This belief in Allah and the messengers, the angels and the final day and the holy scriptures.
Only if we knew Allah, we would truly worship Him.
How can you worship someone you don't even know?
We would love Him, fear Him, and have hope in His mercy.
Wallahi, wallahi, wallahi. And I challenge anyone in the earth, anyone in the world, to tell me one time in their life that they took the means and they put their trust in Allah and Allah let them down.
Only if you knew with Majid Mahmoud in Ramadan, only on Huda TV.
His belief in Allah and the messengers, the angels and the final day and the holy scriptures.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back, dear viewers. We're discussing issues of your beliefs, things that you must know at this time. Before the break, we were talking about people who are engaged in major sins, neglecting the duties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which He enjoined upon them. The pillars of Islam, the 5 pillars, or committing major sins such as sexual intercourse, outside marriage of course, drinking intoxicants, smoking it too, killing a person without a legal excuse, eating up usury, backbiting, namima, tale-bearing. It does badly affect your tawheed, so the testimony of faith. We believe that. These major sins, it does badly affect your belief in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and makes your iman weak. It weakens your iman. But it does not render someone to be a disbeliever, focus on this now, to be a kafir, as long as he does not deny the command and believe the not do is halal. You see, the religion is do not do. As long as you do not deny, Allah tells you pray, you deny that command, you're not denying it, you believe it's true, but you're just lazy, you're not a kafir. And do not do that. They say no, zina is halal, is good, I'm going to do it, it's halal. As long as he doesn't do this, then this person is still a Muslim, he's just with a weak faith, with a weak iman, and he takes the ruling of a fasiq. Another issue very important here, well, in that particular issue, contrary, this is our belief, this is the middle way, contrary to a group, a separatist group that believes committing a major sin amounts to disbelief, who hold that he is a kafir, and say that he will abide forever in hell. And if he dies without repenting, if one steals, disobeys his parents, eats up usury, he is considered a kafir, according to Al-Khawarij, which is a devious sect of Islam. Of course, this is according to Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, to the creed of our righteous predecessors, to Salaf. Such a person is not a kafir, but is disobedient and weak in iman, for this does not involve major kufr, major disbelief, rather his iman is diminished and weakened. But again, provided that he does not deny the command, believe the unlawful to be halal for him. There is another group that actually kind of followed the same thing, but with a lessened impact. Al-Mu'tazila. Al-Mu'tazila is a deviant Islamic sect claiming that those who commit major sins are in a state between belief and disbelief. Yeah, this is, I mean, they really don't want to follow the correct method. They wanted to create their own way. I told you Al-Mu'tazila is the people who focus on the intellect. They believe that the intellect takes precedence over the divine. Of course, it's not worthy, but look at Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, adherence to the Sunnah, the Muslims, the mainstream. Such a person is not a kafir, but is disobedient and weak in iman. This is the middle path. This is the middle path, the middle way. Those who commit major sins were still believers in this world, although their faith is imperfect. As for the hereafter, their state rests with Allah. Remember when we spoke about the highlights of our Aqidah, we said, I cannot say that person goes to Jannah, that person goes to hell, unless if I have a text. Like Abu Lahab, I have a text. I could say Abu Lahab is in hell. I could say Pharaoh is in hell, because I have a text. But other people, you cannot. لا نقطع لأحد بجنة ولا بنار. Even مرتكب الكبيرة, even a person who commits a major sin. Of course, there is another dangerous piece here, Al-Murji'ah. This sect as well, faith is one entity. It cannot be portioned. It cannot be divided into beliefs. Basically, they say, as long as you say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, whether you commit major sins or not, whether you act upon that, your faith is like Jibreel and Mikael. And those two groups are very dangerous, dear viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam. Both groups went astray in this issue. Al-Khawarij, they caused people to despair of the mercy of Allah, while the second group encouraged people to commit sins. The Salaf, the righteous predecessors of this ummah, are in the middle path between those two extremes. Beautiful. Another issue quickly before I run out of time. MashaAllah. Philosophy and Aqidah. This is a very interesting piece here. Listen, both deal with discovering the origin of the universe and the purpose behind it. and the means and ways for the human soul to attain happiness in the short and the long term. But philosophy simply is a product of the human mind. Religion, divine beliefs are from Allah. That is why, look at this, no meeting point. They cannot meet. There is no meeting point between philosophy and Islam, because they are two different methodologies from beginning to end, their ways and style. Islam does not need anything else to complete it. Islam does not need the human intellect to come and add something to it. Al-yawma akmalt. Today I completed the religion for you. Nothing that brings you closer to Allah I commanded you to do. Nothing that brings you closer to hell I told you not to do it. اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. It's over. Intellect is saying, no, we can add to this. We cannot. Islam doesn't need anything else to complete it or perfect it, because it has been made perfect by the all-knower, the all-wise, and the all-aware. Today I have completed the religion for you. Man of philosophy, we need men, we need believers, and that's what I keep saying. We need people who believe in divine, not in philosophy. But a little comparison. A man of philosophy says, I think this is correct, but in reality it may be wrong, based on the evidence of today, and it could change tomorrow, and I then may be wrong and may be right. You cannot do that with beliefs. You can't do that. This is ridiculous. A man of Aqidah is totally to the contrary to this. His stand has no wavering doubts or speculations, because this is not Aqidah, then it would not be Aqidah. Ibn Baz, rahimahullah, he made a very good, he summed up the school of philosophical thought about the 5 basic principles of our religion. Allah exists. You see, philosophy, the people of philosophy, they believe that Allah exists, but without names and attributes. So they affirm the existence of Allah. But if you think about it, Allah exists without what? He doesn't hear, He doesn't speak, and so forth. So as if you're affirming the existence of an idol. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Has no reality or essence. Some of them say it's a spirit. He does not know the details of His creation, but He does know about its general terms. This is what philosophy, this is totally contrary. Allah tells you in the Quran, if a leaf falls down, I know about it. Thus they deny that Allah created the deeds of His slaves. وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَكُمْ وَمَا تَعْمَلُونَ. They believe that everyone creates his own deeds, which is contrary to the verse. And Allah created you and what you do. They also did not believe in the books. As in their view, Allah does not speak or talk. Remember, the people who came up with Khalq al-Quran, how did they come up with it? They rejected the attribute of speech to Allah. Allah doesn't speak, then the Quran is created. The same exact thing with philosophy. The philosophers are the one who most deny the last day. They don't believe in the next life. They believe that something else will happen. In their view, paradise and hell are no more than parables for the masses to understand, but they have no reality beyond. So philosophy and religion cannot speak. Another issue quickly, brother, using the Quran to address non-Muslims. A lot of the people, they think that we should not use the Quran to address the non-Muslim. This is wrong, dear viewers. The Quran was revealed to address Muslims and non-Muslims. They think that we should use analogy. One last point, inshallah, a devious call. Bring in religions together. Interfaith. Be careful, dear viewers. Listen, tolerance is in dealings, not in beliefs. I will never compromise my beliefs to make you happy. But you know what? I will not force you to accept my beliefs. I will try to convey it to you in a kind way, and I hope that you will accept it. But in dealings, I will be very kind to you. I'll be very nice to you. If you're a Christian or a Jew, I'll be very nice to you. But for you to be happy with me, I say that you're going to Jannah when I was told that you go to hell if you hear of Islam and you do not accept it. No compromise. And this is interfaith. Be careful. This word is a dangerous, a devious call. Be careful. With this, dear viewers, we have concluded the subject of Aqidah. Don't miss the next episode. We're going to talk about the most honorable subject of your belief is the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will see you. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
His belief in Allah and the messengers, the angels and the final day and the holy scriptures. To believe in destiny, that good and bad both come from Him, and the resurrection. There is no God but Allah, the angels and the final day and the holy scriptures. To believe in destiny, that good and bad both come from Him, and the resurrection. There is no God but belief in Allah and the messengers, the angels and the final day and the holy scriptures. To believe in destiny, that good and bad both come from Him, and the resurrection.